a whole lot. Trial, tribulation, but I know God.
Hey, Reg here, and welcome back to the blog. It's day 49 of my 60-day raw food challenge and the return of the fruitarian, and things are still plowing ahead. I finally got some food, so I went to Whole Foods in Detroit. Yes, there's a Whole Foods in Detroit, and I picked up about $100 worth of produce. That's probably going to be my food for the next 2 days, so it wasn't actually that much food. But Whole Foods is pricey, so if you're trying to get organic vegetables and fruits, you're not going to get out of Whole Foods cheaply. What I do understand is that Whole Foods has a commitment to also carrying affordable products and matching the prices of other grocery stores on typical things and other staples, but their organic produce is it's pretty high. However, I noted that the prices were not as high as what I'm used to from the high-end grocery store where I live in Brooklyn. So all that said, I got some food, and I've made myself a few really incredible smoothies. Last night I made a grape and zucchini smoothie that I discovered when I went back and looked at my blog entries from 2012, which I'm finding more and more useful. Something else that I noted when I was looking back at my former blog post from the 2012 60-day raw food challenge is that as the challenge continued, my thinking around food on a personal level really came into focus. And what I'm noting about myself in this cleanse is that my connection to the community, at least the kind of YouTube vlogging community around veganism, that relationship is starting to come, like where I fit in that realm has come into focus for me. And it's not like I have this crazy inflated opinion of myself. A few people come and check out my things, but at least what I have to say about veganism and how it differs from what other people have to say has become for me much clearer. That said, so I was having a conversation. I told you guys that we had an all-day retreat here at Alt Space, which is the multi-use cultural space that I'm developing here in Detroit. And during that conversation, I started talking about the importance of having quality relationships with all of the people that we encounter in our work. And someone else in the room, kind of did air quotes and said, yeah, but we can have a conversation about spirituality, but I think it's important for us to talk about concrete things. And I was really offended, and I told the person that I felt very alienated by that comment, and this idea that somehow spirituality was not as important to discuss in developing a relationship with people as anything concrete. So I wasn't sure exactly why that bothered me, and it's like a lot of things when you live in a society where, especially under capitalism, where certain things are given value and other things are devalued. It's in a process of dehumanization, and so of course in a capitalist society, talking about the development of a project that is in many ways a business, how the pursuit of meaning in that is not as valuable as just talking about how much money is going to be made. And we see what the results of that have been on the planet up to now, right? So I looked up spirituality, and the Webster definition says that spirituality is an attachment to spiritual values. An attachment to spiritual values. And then looking up other definitions, like looking at even Wikipedia gives this kind of big general definition of spirituality as really anything with meaning, really the pursuit of meaning. And in some ways, spirituality is how philosophy, which I think is an amazing practice to have a philosophy, your spirituality nowadays your spirituality is your philosophy, right? It's your philosophy on life. And the idea that there are people who move through the world without a philosophy, without a sense of spirituality, without a sense of meaning, is very convenient. It's very convenient to have a population of people who aren't interested in the pursuit of why things are the way they are. In fact, people have become, in some ways, at least how I see it, is that people have become alienated from their own experiences and live under the assumption that things just are because they are, as opposed to an understanding of the world being as it is because people have intentionally made it that way. You know, we live in a world, we live in a civilized society that's been created. People have given a lot of thoughts to, you know, what will be considered legal, what will be considered illegal, what will be social norms, what will be outside of the norms. So that's work that happened, and in some ways, spirituality gives us a place to question those things without necessarily having all of the answers, right? A spirituality can lead to the pursuit of a greater knowledge than what is just in front of us. Now, as someone who appreciates what is happening in the vegan movement, I see that as a really key element. Because how am I going to, if I think eating meat is just the way things are supposed to be, I'm not going to question that unless I've been in some ways kind of turned on to my own spirituality. That thing that can lead me to question my actions in search of a higher truth. Like, you know, maybe it's bad for the planet, right? It doesn't always have to be about something up in the air. It can simply be answers that exist, you know, in the concrete, but that we just haven't quite grasped yet. And so with that in mind, I am going to give a shout out to Ralph Smart, who is also known as Infinite Waters Diving Deep. That's his channel, Infinite Waters Diving Deep. And Ralph, he lists himself as a life coach, an author, a counselor, a criminologist, and a number of other things. And when I checked out his channel at first, I found myself reacting to the kind of spirituality of it all. And as the hairs on my neck were going up, I remembered that, you know, I had just had an encounter where someone was being dismissive of spirituality, and realized that I shouldn't let that stop me from investigating what this person has to say. And it turns out that, you know, he had a lot of really great things to say, and gives a lot of great tips around the kinds of foods that one might eat to get the best nutritional bang for your buck as you're living a vegan lifestyle. So again, a shout out to Infinite Waters Diving Deep. I also want to shout out Daniel Bermel, I believe his last name is Bermel, and he left a comment on one of my posts from a few days ago where I was recommending the song Roses by the Chainsmokers. Now, he said if I was interested in the Chainsmokers, that I might be interested in another group called ASTR or ASTR. I'm not sure how they pronounce that, but the Chainsmokers did a remix of one of their songs called Operate, and that was the song that Daniel recommended I listen to. I ended up getting their entire EP that had, I ended up getting their entire EP that Operate is on, and then I went and got another single of theirs called Activate, because I just really liked the song. So Daniel, thank you for turning me on to Aster. Thank you for the recommendation of the song Operate. I got the EP, and then I also got the Chainsmokers remix of the song. And so, and if you don't know anything about Aster, they are a duo, Zoe Silverman and Adam Palin. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed our little talk about spirituality, and I hope that you will give a listen to Aster's, either their single Activate or their song Operate. I'm going to leave the link to Activate, I think, because it's poppin'. That said, this is Reg checking out on day 49 11 days left, day 49 of my 60-day raw food challenge. Don't forget to love yourself. Have a great one. Peace.
And I love myself.
The world is a ghetto, big guns and dick